All right. Hi, Antone. We are back for another discussion here because the first one we had was just so well received, and you provided so much information about what you're going through for everybody out there. So thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun last time. Let's do it again.
Yeah, it really was. And you're so open and honest. And I think that resonated with people to see what it's like to be given a diagnosis like autism at age 53. We keep putting our age out there, and that's okay. We're proud of our age, right? We've come a long
Right.
way.
Yep,
So
exactly.
you have a really exciting day coming up this weekend. Do you want to let everyone in on the good news?
Yep. So my book, which is right here, From Turmoil to Triumph, is finally done. And the book release party is this Sunday. So if anybody's in the Duluth area, there's a little cafe called Wusso's Cafe, 3 to 5 this Sunday. We're having a book release party. So everybody is welcome to come, and there's going to be some food and drinks and stuff, and should be a really good time. I'm nervous, but it should be a really good time.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. One, how you're feeling about this book release, and two, how is it with your anxiety? Because you talk openly about your anxiety and trying to manage that.
Right. So I did a book reading about a month ago, and I did it at the same place, and it was really nerve-wracking. And there was a point where I even thought I was going to pass out on stage, but I kind of regrouped and was able to get through it. I'm not feeling as nervous as I was when I did that. I'm feeling a lot less nervous, but also this time of the year, and I just did a YouTube video on this morning, earlier this morning, but I I struggle with anxiety worse at different times of the year, and because the changing of the seasons is happening right now earlier than it should, that's typically when I get more anxious for some reason. The changing of the seasons is worse for me. So right now the anxiety is a little higher than normal anyway. But even with that, I'm feeling pretty good about the show. I'm excited, and I'm glad that we're finally at this point. The book has been edited multiple times, and I think it's coming out. It's looking pretty good. I'm feeling good about it.
Awesome. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I know we only reconnected a couple months ago, since we were just teenagers, but to watch and hear where you've come in all these years and then have it culminate with this book is just amazing. So I want to give you a pat on the back and tell you that I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've come a long way in life,
Yeah.
from where I for
How
sure.
does it feel to hold the book in your hands, the physical
Oh
book?
my gosh. Well, it's got like a texture on it. So to feel it, not only because it's done and I've got the book in my hands, but the feel of it even is really cool. It's just really neat having it here and in my hands, and I can look through it. I just think it looks really nice, and a lot of hard work, a lot of coming to terms with things in my past, just a whole lot of being honest and embarrassed and ashamed, but it's here. It's ready for the world to
I,
see.
I had the opportunity to read your book ahead of time because you sent the manuscript to me. And that's what when you describe it as honest and embarrassing at times and all of that, it's just a testament to your ability to be vulnerable and to share these hard things that are going to help someone else in their life. Or at least that's what
Yeah,
I think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Well, I
Not
can't
that
wait
many
to
years
get my
ago.
physical copy. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, not that many years ago, I wouldn't have been strong enough to do this story, to talk about some of that stuff. But something's changed in me where I'm much more open about things I wouldn't have normally been open about in the past.
Yeah. And what a gift for your daughter too, to have this as something to look back on of her dad forever.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So,
She liked it. Yep.
yeah, you've mentioned before how much you struggle with anxiety, crowded places. What kind of coping strategies have you set into place for an event like this and you being the center of it?
So there's not a whole lot of strategies for me, unfortunately. I'm going to go in feeling as mellow as I can. I'll probably meditate before I go in, before I go down there. But it's more getting into the situation than it is being in the situation. Once I get in there, I'll be okay. It's just getting through the door that's the hard part. And I don't have a choice. I'm kind of stuck. I have no choice but to be there. So I'll meditate. I'll probably drink a little less coffee that morning. I won't need it. I'll probably be pretty amped up anyway. But you know, there's not much you can do when you're in there. I'm just gonna just be fully in the moment and try not to have a panic attack or something. You know, I'm just gonna do my best.
I love the idea of meditating first. I know you've also said nature is really healing for you and brings your anxiety down. So just
Yeah.
some of those natural things I feel like you turn to and you don't even notice that you're doing it as a strategy.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I'll be doing a lot of hiking this weekend, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah,
So
kind of in
that'll help.
preparation of it.
Mhm.
So my mom and I are going to make the trip up to come see you, and I can't wait. We're going to
Yeah,
have
I
a,
can't wait.
I can't wait to
We're gonna
support you there and get a copy of the book in my hands. That will be great too. So, and I was going to ask you to refresh our memory on the book and what it's about. You already did a little bit. It's not a book about your journey finding out that you are autistic, but it's more a journey of your life, and at the very end you find this out. But looking back, we talked last time about reflecting on all the things from when you were young that you were like, that's probably attributed to that. And I
Yeah.
heard one of your recent YouTube videos where you talked about how there just wasn't testing or identification for kids back when we were in school, especially if they didn't have high support needs, and how you looked more behavioral, more like inattention. So, is there anything in particular in the book that you want to kind of share with us right now?
Well, there's a lot in there. I'm looking over here because the book's there, but you know, it starts out where I had a lot of issues. My mom moved us around quite a bit, so I never had a stable home until I got with my grandparents, and I was with them quite a bit, and that sure helped. Um, I had anxiety from a very young age, and I didn't know what anxiety was, so I didn't know I had anxiety. And even a young age, I started going down the road with alcohol and finding that I felt better when I drank. And then that also came, what comes with that is poor decisions and poor friends, and then trying to live up to other people's ideas of what I was supposed to be about. And those other people were bad people. So I had a, it was a long journey to find myself and who I really am and what I wanted to be. And anxiety was a big part of is a big part of my life to this day. And you know, even with all that, I was able to start a company, really turn my life around. The company got very large, and I started medication for my anxiety, and then wanted to get more into who I was and learn more about myself. I had some testing done at a place in Minneapolis. Um, and I found out the book kind of ends with me finding out I'm on the autism spectrum. And then looking back through my life, you'll notice in the book, if you end up reading it, to you viewers, you'll see there's things in the book that are peppered through that it makes sense now why I did and why I said and how I acted, that it was partially due to that autism that I have. So yeah, that's kind of the book. There's a lot there. It's hard to go over the whole thing, but there's a lot there.
I have to say, it was definitely a page turner. And, there's people like your grandparents there that I was feeling so happy that they provided that stability for you. You're kind of cheering you on throughout the book. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, this is a real person that I know that has overcome this much. And it's amazing. And you're talking about looking back, you can see some of those things that relate to autism. Some things maybe relate more to anxiety or your instability of your life situation, but you can kind of start to pick those things out. So now that you've had a few more weeks since the last time we talked to really think about your autism diagnosis and learn more, where are you at with things? Is there anything else you've noticed or learned
It's
that you didn't know?
well, I'm learning little things all the time. Um, and it was tough when I first was diagnosed. It was emotionally kind of hard for a minute. But since the diagnosis, I've kind of fell into the role of, okay, this is who I am, and that's okay. It hasn't changed me. I'm still the same person as I was before the testing was done. And if anything, it's given my wife a little bit more knowledge about why I do the things I do and the way I do them. And she's always been super supportive anyway, and very good about my little quirks and things I do. But now it's made her even more understanding, that I have these things now that she knows what's causing it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And what were some of the
Self-talk.
things that you have learned that you were surprised to learn that were related to autism, like behaviors, thoughts, feelings, characteristics, things that you notice maybe even in yourself where you're like, oh gosh, I would have never known that was autism before.
So right now, even in this interview that we're doing here, I want to kind of go like this. I want to
Oh
start to
yeah.
rock a little bit, but I'm holding that back. And that's something that I've done when I get a little nervous. Another thing is I like to go down rabbit holes, and it's usually on something, could be eBay or something, and I'll want to get something. I want to get them all. I want to collect, and I'll do that. And so I go down this massive shopping thing for stuff that I think I need and it's going to change my life and doesn't do. I read that that could be due to my autism. And then hyperfixation, which also is part of that I just talked about. But hyperfixation, I get into something and I can't let it go. If I have an interest in it, I'm going to be completely knowledgeable in all aspects of it, because I'll make it my life mission to research it and find out more and more and more. And that's also what I'm kind of calling it now, my superpower. I didn't used to say that because I didn't realize that's what I was doing. But it's kind of my superpower, and it's because it's that probably was the driving force of me being successful in the company that I had.
Absolutely. That's the first thing that came to my mind is that hyperfixation and wanting to learn everything about a topic. That's what
Right?
made you so successful. And
Yeah.
it's part of why I think neurodiversity in general, everyone having different types of brains is so important because what you're really good at is something my brain could never do, and vice versa. Like that
Yeah.
diversity in humankind is what makes it beautiful.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Is there anything that you found is a myth about autism that you would want to debunk?
So I started this YouTube channel about a month and a half ago, and it's blown up, and it's been great. But I'll get people that'll go there and they'll respond. This has happened maybe 7 or 8 times, where somebody will watch my video, and to them I seem completely normal, that I do not have autism, and they get kind of rude about it. They'll say that I'm faking it, or that I'm just as normal as they are, which is fine, but they don't understand that you don't have to be far in the spectrum of autism to have autism. You don't have to be nonverbal. You don't have to have those real, I don't really know the terms for it all, but those where it's very noticeable that you have autism. You can still have it, and people wouldn't know unless you tell them,
Yeah,
or if they're around you enough, they'd see it maybe.
yeah.
So, that's one thing I've learned is people don't understand autism still. There's a lot of people that just aren't knowledgeable about it, and they don't realize that somebody like me can have it.
Hmm. I think it's that stereotype too of autism looks like Rain Man, or different ways it's been portrayed in the media or in the world. And really it was not that long ago in the 1950s when people thought that autism was caused by cold and uncaring mothers, and they called them
Wow.
refrigerator mothers. They had a term
Wow.
for it.
I
And
didn't know.
yeah, yeah, and it was the idea also that, like you said, you have to be non-speaking. You have to have high support needs to be autistic. And that's where the definition has changed dramatically, even in the last 25 years since I've been teaching and working with autistic kids. The way we talk about it, the way we diagnose, everything has changed so much. So there's people out there that will look at you or listen to you talking and say, well, he can't be autistic because XYZ, because they're projecting their definition or the one person maybe they know in their life that's autistic and comparing with you. And the other thing we always hear or that people say is autism is an invisible disability because most of our kids, like, you can't tell by looking at them that
Right.
there's a disability, and same with adults. So it's invisible.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Thank you for debunking that myth. And hopefully people will start to understand more as they get educated. And I think that's why your platform is really, really helpful. So thanks for helping with that. So, what are some things that an autistic person should never feel ashamed about?
So, you are going to be different than other people, and that's okay. It's just be yourself and don't worry about what others think. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm still learning everything. I'm still researching it, but don't be ashamed about who you are. You are who you are, and
Yeah,
you're a beautiful person, and just go with it.
I love that. And I think when we talked before, you said throughout the years, you've always been really hard on yourself about eye contact and how
Yeah.
hard it is for you sometimes to make eye contact or sustain it. And something you probably have felt shame about over the years.
Yeah,
Mm.
and then lately, for some reason, it's been worse. It's kind of flared up a little bit. Like today, I'm okay with you. I'm really comfortable with you. But new people that I've had dealings with lately, it's been difficult. I've had a real hard time with that, and it had gotten better, but it's kind of went backwards a little bit lately.
Is
Could
that
be with all the
something?
stress I got going
Yeah, definitely. With all the changes and kind of more social events too with strangers.
on.
Do you think it's
Right.
something now that you still beat yourself up for? Or are you a little more forgiving of yourself for
I think it's
that?
both. I'm forgetting, but it's also it's the right thing to do. So I'm trying to do it. I want them to feel that I'm engaged in the conversation and that I'm not looking off because I'm annoyed or bored with the conversation.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I'm really battling with that right now.
Yeah. I don't know if you have heard this term, but a lot of autistic adults talk about masking. And masking is like exactly what you're doing there. Okay, this doesn't come natural to me. This is what maybe a neurotypical brain would do is like have this eye contact and it's easy for them. But you want to be able to, you know, fit in or maybe do the norm, let them know that you're engaged. And so you just push past it and you kind of fake it till you make it. But that can be really taxing on you at, just so it's something you can kind of look into. I totally get that you want to be able to show that engagement, but then also knowing if you feel really exhausted afterwards or kind of burnt out, that's probably why, you know?
It's funny you bring up masking. I didn't know what masking was until recently, and my wife and I, she catches me. So one of the things I do is if I'm getting on a phone call or if somebody comes over, I jump right into the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Those little niceties that people do, I don't typically do that. It's not that I am being rude or don't care about the person I'm talking to. I just don't think about it. So my wife is always reminding me, now when you call, make sure you say hello and how you doing, how are the kids, and all that stuff first, then get into it, because that doesn't come natural for me. And so even long before this diagnosis, there's little things that she's picked up on that she tries to help me with. So that's I guess I'm asking all the time
Yeah.
about something. Right now,
Well,
not
and
rock, I'm asking.
yeah. Yep, I see it. And definitely for you, kind of riding that line of which things are you okay with kind of masking, you know, but you don't want to have to do everything under that mask, or you're going to just completely implode, you know? So
Right.
it sounds like you and your wife have a nice, open relationship with communication where you can kind of lean on each other and help each other out with that.
Definitely have that. I got really lucky.
Yeah, yeah, and I did meet her once over Zoom, and she's just amazing. So, speaking of relationships, whether someone's in a current relationship or not, what is a piece of advice that you would give to another autistic adult when it comes to navigating relationships, close relationships?
Yeah, communication. But that's with any relationship, but being very communicative. That's the main thing, you know, and maybe I guess it'd be considered masking maybe a little bit, but saying how much you love that person and telling them and what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and you know, I never mask that though. I feel like when I'm telling her I love her every day, and that's not masking, but it's true. I'm the more probably the more loving one out of the two of us. She's very loving, but even more. So I don't have that part where I can't be loving. I do have it. It just doesn't always come natural with other people. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, I would say communication is always key, but that's with any relationship.
yeah, that's true. No difference there. So, if you could tell another adult who's newly diagnosed as autistic one thing, what would it be?
Newly diagnosed, that you're the same person that you were before you were diagnosed, because that was a big deal for me when I first was diagnosed. It hit me kind of hard, even shed a tear. I remember, well, I was on a Zoom call with the lady that told me. But I would just say you are who you are. That diagnosis doesn't change that, but what comes with it is more understanding of who you are and why you do the things you do or don't do in some cases. Just be who you are. You're the same. It doesn't change that.
That's perfect, actually. That's such a great way to kind of end our conversation about this. I know we'll be talking again in the future, but you know, I- I've seen that on the 3-year-old end where we're talking to a parent about their child and bringing up autism for the first time, and it's really hard for a parent of a 3-year-old to hear that sometimes. And just for them to know it's the same little cutie that you came in with. It's just these differences or learning styles can just help us understand that child more and meet their needs better. So, in
Yeah.
looking back when you were young, that would have been helpful at that time. But what a gift to know now those things about yourself.
Oh, it's great. It's been amazing having the diagnosis. It really has. I've embraced it at this point. I've
Yeah.
embraced it, and go to my channel. I talk about it. I'll
Mhm.
probably do a video today, another one. I've already done one. So I'm very active with the YouTube channel. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Definitely subscribe to Antone's channel because it is a dose of honesty, reality, and openness every time he posts a video. So remind everyone where they can find and buy your book.
So I have a website, antondabbs.com, ANTONDABBS.com. I'm sure that'll be at the bottom of this video. And there's a page there for purchasing the book. And I'm sure Tara will also put my social media stuff up. Please subscribe to me. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I answer everybody's questions. I'm not too busy that I get to everybody
That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, thank you. And we will be back together another time in the future.
this Sunday.
All right. Oh,
See you.
yeah. In person. We'll have to put something on social media.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Antone.
Thank you.